Military, you are here. We are bringing you live pictures from the Lally Bimpong house where the incident happened. The people are agitating. So the people are agitating.
We know all the MPP police.
They're in our house. Why?
We know all the MPP police. We know them.
We know them. Okay.
They came to the house.
So you calm down and speak to us. You calm down and speak to us. You calm down and speak to us. All right. You calm down and speak to us. Okay. So let's try and then speak to the. Let's try and then speak to Kwesi Fori to also tell us what he's been told as far as this particular incident is concerned. It's a volatile environment at the moment. The police are going through some level of difficulty controlling the crowd here because they are agitating. And let's just get closer to Kwesi Fori and then speak to him and then find out what his briefings he has received from these people. But let's hear. What exactly is the problem?
One person is dead now.
He's dead?
One person is dead, yes.
Can you?
One person is dead now. Two people.
Two people were shot. Okay.
You come and you jump the wall. You jump the wall and you are shot.
Who shot him? Can you just remove? Can you just remove that? Can you just remove? Why can't you remove it?
Relax.
Yeah.
Ghana is at risk now. We
understand, but you see, we are not here, so if you can remove that and speak to us.
Stronghold. You come and attack, you know that this place will win. So you come and you cause confusion. You put the message on the Jewish forces, giving them gas, giving them military uniforms, police uniform, whatever. They were using gas and they were shooting. Wow.
Serious, huh?
They saw it.
So we are, all right, so that's the blasting. That's the blasting. That's a blasting of her.
Well, so it's been a morning of livid men, masked men, and 6 of them who were shot because of the by-election chaos at the AYAWASO West Wuogon constituency. It did disrupt the process, but voting resumed immediately after security reinforced its presence on the ground. We'll bring you more from the ground as far as the situation is concerned. Let's find out how things have changed the last few hours. But let's hear from the police. Now, the police, in a statement released about an hour ago, has said that its attention has been drawn to a shooting incident at Bawaleshie, Accra, where we just brought you from. In the AYAWASO West Wuogon constituency by-election, leading to the injury of 6 persons. As of now, there is no death, no record of death resulting from the shooting incident. Calm, they say, has returned to the area, and the 6 injured persons we reported earlier are responding to treatment at the Wuogon and 37 military hospitals. Further, the IGP has directed the Director General, Criminal Investigations Department, to speed up investigations into the incident. It concludes by saying the general public, especially voters and residents in the constituency, are encouraged to remain calm and go about their duties freely without fear, as more police officers have been deployed to ensure law and order. What we have seen over the last few hours is that indeed security personnel have been deployed to the ground, reinforce the efforts of security to maintain law and order. What we need to find for ourselves now is how things are happening. That's why we'll be taking you there in a moment. But also earlier in the day, after the chaos erupted, the NDC held accusations against the NPP. The NPP held a news conference to refute those allegations. Take a look.
A few of the facts, if I may call them at this stage, that we have gleaned. The NDC candidate in this election had apparently and allegedly imported thugs of the Azoka and Hawks and bussed them all the way in from Tamale into the constituency and lodged them close to his residence in AYAWASO West Wuogon constituency. Upon notification to the security, because of the suspicious activity in the area and the sudden influx of strangers, people in the area were naturally worried what was happening. We have gleaned that the security forces when attempting to investigate the issues, were fired upon. They were fired upon. And so there were counter shots. At this stage, this is what we have been told. And that exchange of gunfire naturally created a bit of hullabaloo and panic in the area. Note that this incident did not happen at a polling station. This incident is an off-polling station incident. That out of the 137 polling stations, the particular incident that the NDC has blown out of proportion and is standing on to tarnish the image of Ghana internationally did not happen at a polling station where voting is going on. It was an off-polling station incident. We therefore appeal for calm. The election is ongoing. It has 4 parties involved: the NPP, the LPG, the PPP, and the NDC. Unfortunately, the NDC leadership appears to have abandoned their responsibilities to their people. They have refused to lead, and in a series of reckless and premeditated actions have decided to throw their part of the election into disarray.
So that is how the NPP reacted to the accusations the NDC made against it, as far as the cause or the brain behind the violence that erupted earlier today at Bawaleshie is concerned. But let's speak to a man who attended this news conference, Joshua Ayura. He's here with me in the studio. Joshua, I didn't hear any direct condemnation from AYAWASO of the NPP as far as this incident is concerned. What did they seek to do with the news conference?
All right. So, like you rightly mentioned, I mean, in bets, we actually put out this soundbite. But basically, beginning of the engagement, they actually stated categorically that they condemn this action unreservedly. They stated that they condemned this action, even though it's one that they did not expect to happen. But then again, it has happened. But they were trying to put in place or in order the allegations and pointing fingers to say this is the fault of the NPP, this is the fault of the NDC. And that was what they actually came up with, some findings that they actually wanted to react to. So
they condemned the action, yes.
Absolutely.
But they will not take blame for it because they didn't cause it. They think the NDC orchestrated it. What informed that decision? Did they tell you why they think the NDC orchestrated this?
Exactly. So just as you mentioned, to them, they consider the whole action by the NDC as one that seeks to denigrate or just discredit the credibility of the elections. And what actually started the inception of this whole chaos had to do with when they picked up some leads that the NDC candidate in the person of Delali Kwesi Brimpong, who in his residence actually hired some.
I'm going to come back to you in a moment, I promise. But let's talk to Wilberforce now. Wilberforce will let us know what is happening on ground right now in the AYAWASO West Wuogon constituency. Wilberforce, tell us where you find yourself and what's going on there.
Well, so Keminni, I'm here at the Bawaleshie Park, which has 2 voting centers. Earlier on in the day, when this voting started, this place was more like a war zone because of the confusion that erupts over here. As I speak with you now, there's relative calm here at the Bawaleshie Park. There is no confusion whatsoever, and people who have come to exercise their franchise have been voting peacefully. There is also a lot of security presence. The police, and there is also heavy military presence here at the Bawaleshie Park. Now, beyond the security presence and the relative
experiencing here I have done a quick check with the officials who are supervising the voting process, and I'm told that here at one of the stations that I visited, they were expecting 670 people to cast their vote here. However, as we speak now, 172 have come to exercise their vote out of the 670 that is expected. Certainly, that should tell you, Keminni, that voter turnout is quite low. It's not even up to 50% if we are considering just this station. And so that suggests to me that voter turnout as far as this election has been very, very low.
Very low. Again, perhaps because of the confusion that started this whole exercise in this area, it may be the reason that has informed people's decision not to turn out here to come and vote, because they perhaps fear that they may wounded or may have some challenges. And so, Keminni, here at the Bawaleshie Park, which started as a war zone, is calm. However, voter turnout here considerably is very, very low. And we'll have to wait to know the voter turnout circumstances in the remaining 136 stations for this election.
Wilberforce, indeed, we see the security men behind you. We realized that, contrary to what we saw earlier in the day, where you could have maybe a couple of them at a station, we have more than a couple at Bawaleshie, where the chaos actually erupted. But how has your strategy to enforce law and order changed post the chaos? Hello, Wilberforce, can you hear me? Well, I'm told Wilberforce cannot hear me, but on your screens now are live pictures from Bawaleshie, an electoral area within the AYAWASO West Wuogon constituency. This is where violence erupted earlier today, not at the polling station itself, but at the home of Delali Brimpong. 6 people have been shot dead. The police has refuted claims that 2 people died as a result of gunshot wounds. Well, Wilberforce, I'm told, can hear me now. Wilberforce, I was asking, how was the security personnel there, or how are security personnel there enforcing law and order? How was it different from the morning?
Well, so Keminni, what I can see that is different, and I would ask my cameraman to point to that direction. What I can see is that the police have formed a barricade right at the entrance of this park. And what that means is that you need to be cleared before you can enter into the premises. And that is the premise. By way of premises, I mean the park. You need to show reason why you are entering here. Either you are a polling agent, or you are coming to vote, or you are a journalist. Without that clearance, you are not allowed to enter into the Bawaleshie. If you can see from your shot, there are a lot of onlookers who are looking into the park from the fence wall that has been created here as a park. And so the police and the military are on top of maintaining security here. What that means is that the park is not saturated with people. All the onlookers who otherwise could have easily had access to this park no longer have access. For the people that you are seeing in your shot who are here, they are other political party representatives, polling agents, or maybe constituency executives as far as the party is concerned. Some colleague journalists are also here. They have also been granted access to come into the inner part of the park. And so that is how the police and the military are exercising their authority here in order to maintain discipline. Now, the other thing I'm seeing, if you check out on your time, you will see that it is a little over 37 minutes past the hour of 4. What it means is that we have a little over 22 minutes to begin the counting, because voting is set to end at 5 p.m. And so 22 minutes from now, counting of the ballot is expected to start. First, probably with sorting, and then after that, counting. So I can see that the military and the police are changing their security arrangement here. There are some barricades here. I can see that they are rearranging to cordon off the area which is going to be used for purposes of the counting. And so my cameraman is panning now so that you can see the military doing a rearrangement of the place in order to ensure that when counting starts, nobody has access to the stations that were used for purposes of the voting. So like I said, Keminni, earlier, there are two polling stations here. There's the Bawaleshie Presbyterian Basic 1 school. There is one polling station there. And just across the aisle from that polling station, there's another polling station at another school building here. And so already the second polling station I'm talking about has already been cordoned off. What it means is that when it comes to the time of counting, nobody is going to have access to that premises. Now, the second place that I was talking about, the military and the police in a joint operation have completed the process to cordon off that place, just so that when counting starts, nobody from the public, or for that matter, from the people who constitute representatives for the political parties, will have unauthorized access to those places to create any confusion. So I tell you that here at Bawaleshie, there is relative calm and peace, and it appears like the voting process has gone on smoothly as compared to what transpired earlier on when this entire process began sometime 7 a.m. this morning. Keminni.
Well, first, I'm going to come back to you and tell us what it looks like now with the backing out of the NDC, whether or not indeed they have pulled their agents from the election grounds, particularly where you are, or perhaps they changed their minds over the last few hours. But let's go back into time and bring you that footage where they announced their withdrawal from a presser. Take a look.
Since 7 o'clock, when the by-election started, we all know that in by-election situation, the security of agents and all the people who vote in that constituency is entrusted in the hands of the National Security Operative, i.e. the Ghana Police Service. In fact, it is only on general elections that, because of the numbers, the police had to be accompanied or supported by other security agencies. Our observation this morning is that there were heavy deployment of security in various polling stations, and those security men were neither police nor military. They were wearing black t-shirts and they were hanging national security tags around their necks. We also realized that there were heavily armed security people who are wearing masks, and we have not seen in any election situation where security agencies will wear masks and come to polling stations. We started getting calls of intimidation and attacks on our party agents and our party national monitoring officers. As we speak to you now, Honorable Sam George had been beaten up mercilessly and is wounded, and I understand he's been sent to hospital. I just spoke with him and he indicated to me that the butts of guns were used to hit him, and that the video is there for you to see. Number two, yesterday, our National Vice Chairman, Sofo Azoka, without any provocation at all, was attacked in his house at East Legon, and the house was vandalized, and he had to really use experience to save himself. This morning, the parliamentary candidate of the NDC, Honorable Dela Likwesi Primpon's house, was invaded
by agents of national security, invisible forces, and other people who were armed to their teeth. They shot indiscriminately, and in the process, we have evidence here to show you AK-47 bullets, which we collected, please, and pistol bullets.
We'll bring you more of that presser from the NDC headquarters, addressed by Chairman of the party, Samuel Ofosu Ampofo, in a bit. But let's bring you the latest on this matter. Wilberforce Asare is at Bawaleshie in the AYAWASO West Wuogon constituency. He's joining us with more. Hello, Wilberforce.
Hello, Keminni.
Yeah, what can you report?
Well, so Keminni, your request made me go on a path of inquiry. And here at the Bawaleshie Presbyterian Basic 1 school, like I said, there are 2 police stations, Police Station 1 and Police Station 1B. I have just done a check at Police Station 1B, and I'm told that, or I did the inquiry and I got to know that the MPP polling agent is very well seated here and still observing the process on behalf of their candidate. The same goes with the NDC. The NDC rep, or polling, I should say the polling agent, is also still seated here. She's actually a female. From the shot, you can see that there's a female who is sitting to my far right. That is the NDC representative, and there is a male who is sitting to next to the lady on the lady's right. That is the MPP polling agent. And so for the 2 major political parties, which is the ruling New Patriotic Party and the opposition National Democratic Congress, their 2 agents are still here observing and supervising the process. And so if there is any pull out, then perhaps here at the Bawaleshie 1B police station, that pull out is not registered, or perhaps the agent has not been officially told to pull away, because she's still seated here and observing the processes that are going on as far as the elections are concerned. Essentially, it's just about 16 minutes more, and this entire process that began at 7 a.m. this morning will come to an end. Sorting will start and counting will continue before we get to know the statistics here. Now, as I speak with you, some 2 persons are going through the process to exercise their vote as I speak with you now. And so perhaps the figure of 172 out of the 670 may have changed as we speak. I will do the enquiries and know what the statistics are as we speak when you come back to me, Keminni.
Wilberforce, but just before we end this bit of the conversation, I hear you say a lot about how voting ends at 5 p.m. Is that to say that in spite of the violence that erupted earlier today, there is no form of extension for the exercise?
Indeed, there hasn't been any official communication that there's going to be an extension for this exercise. Per the law set out for purposes of parliamentary elections, it starts at 7 a.m. in the morning and it ends at 5 p.m. in the evening. And so I suspect that that is what is going to remain as the status quo. If anything is going to change as far as this specific 2 police stations are concerned, it will have to be officially communicated, probably by the supervising officer for the Electoral Commission, who is very busy going through the process. You also do know that there are election observers who are also here monitoring the entire processes and entire activity. So we have done an inquiry about the Bawaleshie Presbyterian Basic 1 school, and we are told that at Police Station A, it is only the MPP, the MPP agent who is still seated supervising the process. The MPP agent is not seated there. But for the Basic 1B, both parties have their polling agents seated and observing and supervising the process that is ongoing here. Indeed. Bawaleshie Presbyterian Basic 1A and B school.
Indeed, Wilberforce, stay on the ground for us. We'll come back to you in a bit. Hopefully, we can have a conversation with some of the election observers who are at this polling station. But as Wilberforce has told us, at La Bawaleshie electoral area, there are 2 polling centers within the Bawaleshie school, A and B. At A, there is no NDC representative, but at B, there is an NDC representative, which begs the question, is the NDC still in the race regarding this by-election, or indeed they have withdrawn, as their chairman, Samuel Ofosu Ampofo, announced? We'll find out in a moment when we get in touch with some NDC executives over the telephone. But you're watching our continuing coverage of the by-election in the AYAWASO West Wuogon constituency. Now, from where we spoke to Wilberforce from the Bawaleshie electoral area, it has about 670 voters there. Only 172 at the time we spoke to him had turned out to vote. Obviously, over the period of our conversation with Wilberforce, a few other people have voted. We'll take it as at least 170 people have voted there. But clearly, with less than 15 minutes to the end of the voting process, we can say that there is strong apathy in the Bawaleshie area. And we can also, we dare say, that it could be fueled by the violence that erupted there earlier today. Nobody wants to go out and vote when you know that there are gunshots, when you know that there is violence at a particular electoral area. Nobody will want to do that. And so we would want to believe that the apathy we're experiencing in La Bawaleshie now could be connected to the violence that has injured 6 people right now. The police, on one hand, is refuting claims that anybody has died from gunshot wounds. But we also heard from the NDC presser about how MP for Ningo Prampram, Sam Jata George, sustained some injuries, also from the butt of a gun. He wrote on Facebook earlier about his experience. The NPP has again rebutted as far as that is concerned. And they cannot believe that he's still alive. But there he is. He's told his story, whether you like it or not. But we'll probe and bring you facts away from chaff in the course of our coverage here on GH1 television. Before we went on ground, we were talking to Joshua Ayura. He is one of my colleagues who was dispatched to the AYAWASO West Wuogon constituency. He later joined the NPP at a presser, and we want to discuss that presser for over the next few minutes here on our continuing coverage of the AYAWASO West Wuogon by-election, as Wilberforce gets ready to join us with some more updates. Joshua, so you were telling us the need for that news conference. You were telling us some of the issues that the NPP was reacting to. Exactly.
Now, just as I was saying, the communications director, one who doubles as the Adenta MP, that is Yabuabing Asamoah, what he said that led or started this whole chaos was when they picked up information that the NDC candidate, that's Kwesi, Delali Kwesi Brimpong, actually hired some men under the guise of the National Security Agents, but they are affiliated to the party's vigilante group, that's the Delta Force, and they also realized that these men, or these unauthorized security protocol personnel were actually detailed at the residence of the candidates and also some part of the polling centers, and that actually gave them the information to go and ascertain whether or not the leads that they picked up were that credible. And when they got there, confrontation led to the main event, that is what one would describe as a sporadic gun display, and that is what actually sparked the whole chaos and violence. And also, I mean, of course, when these things happen, one can only imagine the mass hysteria that would also follow suit as far as these party faithfuls or some of these supporters are concerned. And so that was what started the whole conversation, and that means the confrontation and the violence per them, and that is what actually informed their decision to sit with the press to brief them.
Let's look at the string of allegations they were refuting. What were they?
Okay. Another two had to do with one of the opposition party, NDC, Tokuno, actually stated that the registers were bloated, and that they also considered as unfounded. Because
well, this is something that started last night.
Exactly. And so they also considered as something unfounded because EC never came out to actually state that, okay, we think we are having more than these numbers trickling in, and so we would have to readjust the number of registers. But they also said it was just a weak side from the opposition party to try to discredit the electoral process, and so they also considered that as false. Another also had to do with the trading of blames, to say that it's the NPP that started this whole chaos because they felt, okay, they came in with their men, detailed them at some of these polling stations, trying to ward off the opposition party to also allow their men also come in there and also erupted into something else. Another one too had to do with the random killings, the allegations that were made. They came out to say clearly that they are untrue because they actually followed up to some of these the clinics or hospitals within the constituency to actually confirm whether or not they rushed some lifeless bodies to their facilities, and the information they got was that nothing of such nature or that sort took place there. And so to them, they consider it as laughable and a way that the NDC is trying to sway the attention or actually trying to demean the credibility of the electoral process.
Very well. Now, let's take a listen to that video clip where the chairman of the NDC, Samuel Ofosu-Ampofo, made those allegations.
Since 7 o'clock, when the by-election started, we all know that in by-election situation, the security of agents and all the people who vote in that constituency is entrusted in the hands of the National Security Operative, i.e. the Ghana Police Service. In fact, it is only on general elections that because of the numbers, the police had to be accompanied or supported by other security agencies. Our observation this morning is that there were heavy deployment of security in various polling stations, and those security men were neither police nor military. They were wearing black t-shirts and they were hanging national security tags around their necks. We also realized that there were heavily armed security people who are wearing masks, and we have not seen in any election situation where security agencies will wear masks and come to polling stations. We started getting calls of intimidation and attacks on our party agents and our party national monitoring officers. As we speak to you now, Honorable Sam George had been beaten up mercilessly and is wounded, and I understand he's been sent to hospital. I just spoke with him and he indicated to me that the butts of guns were used to hit him, and that the video is there for you to see. Number two, yesterday, our National Vice Chairman, Sofo Azoka, without any provocation at all, was attacked in his house at East Lagos. And the house was vandalized, and he had to really use experience to save himself. This morning, the parliamentary candidate of the NDC, Honorable Dela Likwesi Brimpo's house, was invaded by agents of national security, invisible forces, and other people who were armed to their teeth. They shot indiscriminately, and in the process, we have evidence here to show you AK-47 bullets, which which we collected, please, and pistol bullets, which we collected. Indeed, as I speak here, our vice chairman, please, can you control as we speak now, our national vice chairman, who was attacked yesterday, so far Zoka, has just entered. I think at the appropriate time he will tell his own story. But let me indicate that our parliamentary candidate house was besieged. There was serious firing, and as a result, 8 people were seriously injured. I personally, together with my regional chairman and some members of the National Executive Committee, visited the Wuogon hospital, and 2 of our people were in very critical condition. If you see the blood that was oozing at the hospital and the scattered bones and the wounded people, you'll be amazed that this is happening in Ghana, a democratic country like Ghana. Therefore, together with myself, the regional chairman and others, and our senior comrade, Honorable Totobi Kwache, visited the house of our parliamentary candidates. I should tell you that it took us a hell before we could even go in. The parliamentary candidate was almost under house arrest. Security on the compound in front and even at the hall. I went and saw a traumatized parliamentary candidate who was even afraid to step out of his own house. And as I speak to you now, he has not been able to step out of his house. We consulted with him, and he said that I don't want innocent people to lose their life and shed blood because of this by-election. So in the circumstance, he's not even interested to even move and go and vote. We reviewed the situation, and having calls from several other parts of the constituency and the attacks that our agents and intimidation they were subjecting to, we had no other option than to recall our party agents from the various police stations because we cannot guarantee their security. Today, Mamiefua's brother, Mamiefuah is one of our deputy national organizers, was beaten up seriously and is in a very critical condition. Adam Magbana, our deputy youth for Ghana, that was attacked at Wuogon Hall. So the question is that even if in broad daylight, 2 hours into the election, this is happening to our people, then we could not guarantee what will happen when elections is over by 5 o'clock and counting is being done, and then we are moving into the dark. We felt that this seat is not more important than any single life that will be lost. So in the circumstances, we have withdrawn our agents. The NDC is not the body conducting the election, and so we cannot call off the election. We cannot ask those who are voting not to go and vote. But we have decided to withdraw our agents from the various police stations in order to prevent further mayhem and bloodshed. We are sending a clear signal to the Commander-in-Chief of the Ghana Armed Forces and the President of the Republic of Ghana, Nana Akufo-Addo, that the democracy we have all fought is under siege. Today is a very sad day for democracy, and the NDC as a party cannot and will not be part of this exercise. Therefore, we are asking our agents to withdraw. Thank you very much.
We call on party for this to come down.
Today,
the repercussions, we are not cowards.
Today,
tell them that we are not cowards.
Today, as you have seen, our party supporters are angry and want to stage a reprisal attack. But we are appealing to all our supporters and sympathizers not to undertake any reprisal attack. We are calling on all our party supporters to remain calm. A delegation from here will go to the Electoral Commission office and the IGP office to offer our formal protest to them as we continue. Thank you. They must get it on camera.
Now, that was earlier in the day when the NDC announced its withdrawal from the race. You can tell how passions were also inflamed at the end of that press conference. Supporters were livid by things that had happened there. Similar happened with the NPP presser. Let's go to another electoral area, one that Paulson Benefson has described as the decider for the AYAWASO West Wuogon constituency, Legon. My colleague Dela Michelle has joined us from the University of Ghana campus, and she'll let us know what's the latest on the ground. Dela, if you can hear me, tell us what's been happening there.
Okay, so Keminni, as at 4 p.m. when we got to Legon campus, the process was quite slow. We realized that the turnout has not been as expected, especially on Legon campus, because when we went to all the campuses, all the halls, that is the Kwafo Hall, Commonwealth Hall, Legon Hall, Mensa Sabah Hall, Voter Hall, where each polling station has agents there, we realized that the turnout was low as expected, especially Hall A. We're expecting 707 voters, but so far, as at 4 p.m., only 200 had voted. And when we spoke to some of the agents there, they did mention earlier that usually during by-elections, this is what happens. The turnout is not that encouraging as the general elections. However, the MP for Okaikwe North, who happened to be at the place, the town we got there, that is Honorable Ebenezer North, made us understand that people were coming out gradually after the assurance given to them by the NPP after the counter presser that they held. You know, earlier what happened at Bawaleshie, and it's suspected made people panic. So in other words, most people did not want to come out because they would be afraid to be hit by any stray bullet. But then at 2 p.m. when he got onto Legon campus, he was at least able to speak to some of the students. Since they resumed today, they were able to speak to some of the students, encourage them to come out from their various halls to just come and vote. So basically, that's what happened at Legon. I also got the information that the 6 who were shot earlier in the day, who were taken to the Legon hospital, are responding well to treatment, and it was given to me by the NP, the same Ebenezer Norte, who was at the Legon campus when I got there, Keminni.
Do we know how many people were taken to the Legon hospital?
At Legon Hospital, the initial figure was 6, but then we understand that one was transferred to 37 because he was in critical condition. So it means that the people at Legon reduced to 5, and then one was sent to 37 military hospital. But he made me understand that some party officials from the NPP also went to the hospital. He made me also understand that he was moving straight to 37 to find out how the man is faring. He said the one who was in critical condition wanted to find out from him how he's faring. So if there's any support that the party can also give to them, they'll definitely do that for these people who were affected.
Very well. Now, if you know the AYAWASO West Wuogon constituency tour, you know that Bawaleshie is not too far from where Dela Michelle is reporting from. And so, Dela, I'd want to find out, how did the incident in Bawaleshie, tell on the people in Legon? What have they been saying about the incident?
Well, A lot of them have been talking, especially about the MP, Sam George, who was allegedly assaulted this morning. Because when we got to Legon, we did see some security presence. We had the police there, some immigration officers there. However, we didn't see the military around. It means that at that particular place, they were able to control the people there. They were able to control activities at the Legon campus. So there were no military officers, but there were police officers as well as immigration officers who were at each polling station, making sure that there is some level of security at those places. But the people were concerned about the allegation that was raised by MP Sam George. They felt that it was another way of just discouraging people to come out. One of the things that I picked from some of the conversations that I had was the fact that the NDC before wanted to pull out, but they could not find means to do that. So they felt this today's election created the right platform for them to do that. And this was coming from one of the NPP MPs who was at Legon. This is what he told me. But then so far, everybody seems to be going around their normal business activities. As I said, school resumed today. So you're seeing students moving around normally. Those who are trading are trading. Those who came to vote, they just come, they vote, and then they return to their halls. There are some who are seated, obviously waiting that now that voting has ended, they're just waiting for the ballots to be counted. So basically everything at Legon campus, especially where I am at the Kwafo Hall, is calm. When I left Voter Hall, it was the same. They're just going about voting normally. People are just having conversations amongst themselves, especially what happened at Bawaleshie in regards to the MP Sam George who was assaulted earlier, and of course the 6 who sustained gunshot injuries. But then aside that, nothing more has been discussed, Keminni.
Now, Dela, it's about 8 minutes past the hour 5. Has voting ended?
Voting has ended. I would say here at Lagos, voting has ended. And what they're doing is that, you know, the polling stations is A and B. So they just moved from A. They went to B to be able to put the ballots together, and then they will do the counting there. We're expecting that other, since Legon is going to be the coalition center, the main center, we are expecting that other ballots will just come and join. So we get to know overall who wins today's by-election. It has been said a lot, especially looking at the candidates who came. We've realized that some of the candidates, such as you know, we had the first and people who are contesting for the first time, that is Lydia Al-Hassan and then Clement Boydi. They're the ones who are contesting for the first time. So people are hoping that at least they can do well when the papers are counted. But Delali, who this is going to be his second time contesting, and then William, this is going to be his 4th attempt to win the seat here at AYAWASO West Wuogon. So that's what's happening. They're just hoping that at the end of it, whoever is going to be named as the MP for this particular constituency will, of course, go in the favor of either the NDC or the NPP, the LPG or the CPP.
I'll observe events regarding counting on the ground. We'll come back to you when it begins. You're watching GH1 television. This is our continuing coverage. You just missed the conversation between myself and my colleague Dela Michelle, who is at the University of Ghana campus, where she also reports voter apathy at a particular polling station. Over 700 registered voters, however, a little over 200 have registered to vote. Voting has ended where she finds herself at the University of Ghana campus. In a moment, we'll go back to Bawaleshie, who has been the hotbed for this by-election, and bring you more updates on this. But Joshua is here with me in the studio. Joshua, we keep cutting into what you have to tell us, but you are at this news conference. Did they address voter apathy at all?
A few that they did mention, of course, was, like I was saying, as of per the submission by the communications director, per their findings, they realized that as of 8:30 a.m. in the morning, some of the electoral areas of the constituencies did not have any of the NDC polling agents stationed at the centers to actually regulate the balloting or the voting. And that they considered a rather disturbing development. If we are actually looking at having a free and fair elections, and you have one other party's members not duly discharging their duties, of course, and then it will raise eyebrows as to whether or not what the activities, the electoral activities being covered or undertaken are any credible one to even go by. So yes, they actually did consider one of those things. They even highlighted more of them as to some of the allegations that the NDC raised with regard to the number of voters. At a point, the NDCs were saying over 2,000. At a point, we're saying 3,000. All these allegations, they are saying that it's only a means or one of the orchestrations by the opposition party just to mar the beauty of the electoral process.
Right, now let's take a look at that presser again. The NPP presser that was addressed by AYAWASO.
A few of the facts, if I may call them at this stage, that we have gleaned. The NDC candidate in this election had apparently and allegedly imported thugs of the Azoka and Hawks and bussed them all the way in from Tamale into the constituency and lodged them close to his residence in AYAWASO West Wuogon constituency. Upon notification to the security, because of the suspicious activity in the area and the sudden influx of strangers, people in the area were naturally worried what was happening. We have gleaned that the security forces, when attempting to investigate the issues, were fired upon. They were fired upon. And so there were counter shots. At this stage, this is what we have been told. And that exchange of gunfire naturally created a bit of hullabaloo and panic in the area. Note that this incident did not happen at a polling station. This incident is an off-polling station incident. That out of the 137 polling stations, the particular incident that the NDC has blown out of proportion and is standing on to tarnish the image of Ghana internationally did not happen at a polling station where voting is going on. It was an off-polling station incident. We therefore appeal for calm. The election is ongoing. It has 4 parties involved: the NPP, the LPG, the PPP, and the NDC. Unfortunately, the NDC leadership appears to have abandoned their responsibilities to their people. They have refused to lead, and in a series of reckless and premeditated actions have decided to throw their part of the election into disarray.
You're still here on GH1 television. This is our continuing coverage of the AYAWASO West Wuogon by-election. And we've been bringing you updates on the ground. Voting, we know, has ended. Earlier in the day was marred by violence that broke out at the home of one of the candidates, the NDC candidate, that is Delali Brimpong. Subsequently, police reinforced efforts on ground to maintain law and order. When we returned there minutes ago, we were told that indeed calm has returned. However, voter apathy is still there. Voter apathy remains, and at Bawaleshie polling station B, only 600, out of 670 voters, only 172 had voted at a time. We spoke with Wilberforce Asari. We'll be going back there in a moment. But when we spoke to Dela minutes ago, she did mention that at the University of Ghana polling station, where she found herself, voting had ended. Sorting will take place, counting, and then we will know what the results are for the particular polling station as far as this election is concerned. But there are a few things you need to know about the election. Now, the AYAWASO district is where you would find the AYAWASO West Wuogon constituency. Within the constituency, there are about 6 electoral areas. We are talking Belenkpe, we are talking Jawulu, we are talking Roman Road Stroke Airport Residential Area, Okpongolo, Wuogon, and then East Wuogon. Within these electoral areas are the polling stations. We know that there are 137 of them. Abelemkpe has 20 polling stations, Jawulu 13, Roman Road 17, Okpongolo 25, Wuogon 40, and East Wuogon 22. Now, we know also that this by-election has been necessitated by the death of the then MP, Emmanuel Chermantin Ejakon. Subsequently, the Electoral Commission by the law has had to hold this by-election for the over 88,744 voters in the AYAWASO West Wuogon constituency. Wilberforce Asare is at Bawaleshie polling station, and he's joining us with the latest from there. Hello, Wilberforce.
Hello, Keminni.
Has voting ended at this polling station?
Keminni, absolutely. Voting has ended here at the Bawaleshie Presby Basic 1A and B school. And as you can see from the background, the polling station B has left their post and have joined hands with polling station A. And that is where the officials are collating the results from the two polling stations. Now, after the collation, we are told that they will begin their counting process. The movement that you see is an arrangement with the police and the media.
They have decided that in the inner perimeter where they have cordoned off from the general public, they have allowed the media into that space. However, there is another space close to the building which also has some sort of a barricade. Over there, they are not allowing anybody apart from the election officials and the election observers, so that when the counting and everything is done, they will feed us, the media, with the results as they trickle out. And so that is the arrangement here that the police has gotten into with the media, and for that matter the rest of the officials who are involved here as far as this process is concerned at Bawaleshie. That I can tell you again, from what you are seeing in your shots, that there are pockets of people who are engaging each other. There are people who are having discussions amongst themselves, party officials. Earlier on, I saw the Deputy Minister for Trade and Industry, Carlos Ahinkra, making his way here to inquire and see if everything was going on smoothly. So people have been trickling in here just to check and ascertain if everything is off, if everything is okay here, because of the earlier incidents that happened here at the Bawaleshie police station A and B. Keminni.
Very well. Wilberforce, explain to us again the arrangement you say journalists are being given in order to have access to the counting process.
Rightly so, Keminni. So you can see from your shots, as we saw previously, that the whole place has been cordoned off. It's a space that is nearly about the size of a football field that has been cordoned off here, and then they are not allowing anybody into that space that has been cordoned off except the media. As you can see in your shot, a lot of the media have lined up and they are facing this huge building which is labeled Bawaleshie Presbyterian School Basic 1 School. And over there in the corridor of the school, that is where they are doing the sorting out of the ballots for both polling stations that were here at Bawaleshie, and that is polling station 1A and polling station 1B. And so as I speak with you, that sorting process is ongoing. The officials are getting ready to begin their counting processes, and they are not allowing the media into that inner perimeter where the counting is going on. However, the media are facing that inner perimeter, and we have all the shots that we need in order to do our work here at the Bawaleshie polling station 1A and 1B. That is the arrangement that the police have had with the media. They are ensuring that they do not leave any media personnel out of this coverage, and also they are ensuring that there is sanity and there is peace here whilst this entire process is going on. There are a lot of onlookers all over the place, and if you look at my cameraman is panning, you can see that over there, the place that has been cordoned off, there are people who have fixed themselves up there. They want a close view of what is transpiring here at the counting center, and so they have had to find their way into that space and to make sure that they have access. There's a police officer standing there to ensure that those people do not trespass by coming into the inner perimeter. So that is the level of interest here as far as this polling station is concerned. There's a lot of interest. People want to know the outcome of the voting that has taken place here at Bawaleshie, particularly because of the circumstances that greeted the commencement of the process here at the polling station 1A and 1B of the Bawaleshie Presby Basic School. Keminni.
Very well. So, Wilberforce, again, I want to come back to the arrangement with the media. You're telling us that they're gathered somewhere, doing the sorting, will count, and only announce to you behind the barricade afterwards.
So, Keminni, my cameraman is going to come back into that space, and perhaps I will spend that time to do further explanation as far as that arrangement is concerned. The people you are seeing in your shot now are the members of the media who are my colleagues over here. Now, they are standing about 50 meters away from the place where the counting process is ongoing.
I get that, Wilberforce. So, what I'm asking is, so you're standing behind that barricade in that special space they have provided for you, awaiting what those doing the counting will come and tell you is the result. What do you think about that process?
Well, Keminni, so I can understand your inquiry. Now, what it says is that notice that there are EC officials over there who are helping with the process, and the returning officer here is duty bound to disclose to us the results of these elections here at these two polling stations. However, there are also election observers and also the party observers or party polling agents who are also present. And so I can understand that if the results are out, it will have to be consolidated, and all these persons who are players as far as this process is concerned will have to approve and agree to the statistics and to the results before the returning officer can put them out. And so that is what is the process here the Bawaleshie 1A and 1B.
Very well. Wilberforce, did we record any more voters from the last time we spoke, since the last time we spoke?
Well, yes, Keminni, we did. We did record a lot more voters from the polling station B. My last check before they finally closed the process indicated that nearly 190 people had voted at that station. Comparatively, it is still very low because the total number of people who were expected to vote at that polling station alone, 670. And so if you have 190 turning out to vote, that is way below the 50% mark here at the Bawaleshie 1B polling station. And so we are waiting for the counting to start and for the outcome to be put there, and we will know the exact figures as far as the percentages are concerned. We can do a comparison with previous elections, both in 2016, 2012, Indeed. 2000 and what have you, Keminni?
Indeed, we can. Now, Wilberforce, ahead of the counting process, you have told us the arrangements with media men, but what is the rest of the strategy for people, as you have shown us, that are eager to know what the results for that polling station is?
Well, Keminni, so anybody else outside the inner perimeter where we, the members of the media, have been permitted to be stationed, are going to have to rely on us who are here for our various media institutions to get the results. There is no public address system here for the Electoral Commission representative to, for that matter, announce to the hearing of all who are hearing gathered. And so for me, what it says is that once we who are a bit more closer get the statistics, it will then be our duty, as it is, to put it out there for the members of the public who are hearing gathered to also know. There are people here who have their mobile phones. I can see some of them with their headsets, probably listening to radio stations and also monitoring our activities because we are live on Facebook to know exactly what the outcome is. And so essentially, even though they are here as the Bawaleshie Park, they will be heavily relying on us members of the media to get the statistics that will be coming out from the counting that is currently ongoing. Keminni.
Now, Wilberforce, could we attribute what seems to be a bit of a variation from what we have seen at most polling stations to the violence that erupted earlier today?
Well, Keminni, so I didn't get the question quietly. If you could help me back,
well, I'm asking, can we attribute what appears to be a variation with the norm as far as post-voting is concerned to the violence that erupted earlier today?
Well, yes, Keminni, essentially, I think that what transpired here at Bawaleshie, and for that matter, within the AYAWASO West Wuogon constituency, will come down as a shock to most people, because the AYAWASO West constituency has never been considered as a flashpoint in all the several elections that we have had under the 1992 constitution since 1992. Never has it been recorded that an incident took place here in the AYAWASO West Wuogon constituency that required police reinforcement. And so this example today is going to go down in history as a warning to our security officials to be up and doing, and to know that any place could become a flashpoint as far as elections are concerned in the Republic of Ghana. Earlier on, Keminni, I vote in this constituency, AYAWASO West Wuogon, and I vote specifically at Little Flower at Jowulu. I went there to go and vote. There was no single police officer there. There was only one immigration officer who was ensuring that the voting process goes on securely. Now, I went through the process in just about 3 minutes. They went through and verified. They checked my name on the list. Once my name was there, a lady verified and said I was 11 right. When I go to the verification booth, they will take my index finger on my right to do the verification. Once I went through the verification and I was approved, all I did was to dip my hand into the indelible ink to ensure that I am marked as someone who has voted. From there, I went for the ballot paper. It was folded nicely for me, and I went to the booth, and all I had to do was to thumbprint my choice and to go and put it in the ballot box, and I left the premises. That was how simple the process was for me. It took me just about 3 minutes to do that process. There was no difficulty over there. But here at Bawaleshie, there was confusion within the same constituency. And so I believe that our security officials has taken a cue from the developments here, and they are probably going to revise their security arrangements going forward in 2020 when we have the general elections and parliamentary elections.
Wait to come back to you in a tad. Just hold the line for me. Let me speak to Peter Boama Otokono, who's Deputy General Secretary of the NDC. Good evening, Peter.
Good evening, Keminni. How are you doing?
I am well. I cannot say same for you. Would I be right?
Obviously, we cannot be well in this circumstance. We are indeed depressed. We feel very disappointed in the institutions of state. We feel very disappointed in the president. And it appears that clearly the state is not in to protect life and property, but rather it is in to pursue a particular interest, political interest. Clearly, the or die mantra of the president has been put to action, and we feel disappointed We think that no single life and no single drop of blood is worth any electoral victory. That is why we decided to pull out of this election. But we pulled out of this election not because we are cowards, but also to make a statement. And the statement that we are going to make, perhaps, if the NPP knows, that they should be getting ready for us. The police have failed the people. The security agencies have completely failed. I heard the director of operations of the police service say that those men who were sitting in police branded vehicles and wearing police branded uniforms with SWAT written on them were not police officers. Those wearing masks were not police officers. So where were they coming from? We have seen videos where these operatives are beating the MP for Nimbo Pram Pram on a video, and the police officers were there and they couldn't arrest them. So what are they telling us? What exactly is we don't know them, they are not part of us and all those things. So if you don't know them and you see them, you see people sitting in your branded pickups wearing police uniform and they are imposters. You don't arrest them. You rather support them. In one of the videos when the imposter's phone fell on the floor, the policeman went in and picked the phone. Instead of protecting the member of parliament who was being beaten. This is what we have gone through. 6 people have been shot. 2 in very critical conditions. If we don't take care and pray for them, we may lose them. And this is how far we have reduced our democracy. This is how far the MPP have returned us back into the dark days. But we can assure them that we are going to retaliate in appropriate portions.
Hold on. Peter, when you say that you will retaliate in appropriate proportions, explain.
What we are saying is that if the state institutions are failed to protect us, to protect the lives of our people, we would have to protect ourselves. And in protecting ourselves, it will mean that we would have to defend ourselves and retaliate where necessary.
But Peter, what would you say to people who tell you that is a very irresponsible thing to say?
No, because it cannot be irresponsible. If the state cannot take responsibility for protecting the people, if they will look on and people will be shot in daylight and nobody will be arrested. Since morning, how many people have been arrested? So who pressed the trigger? Who shot the people? Are the police agencies telling us that the gunshot came from the moon? We have shown the media this afternoon the number of ammunition that were used. AK-47 ammunition, pistol ammunition. You understand? Close to about 35. Who shot them? Which guns were they coming from? Were they security guns? Were they state guns? Nobody is saying anything. Rather, they are saying that, oh, they didn't know them and they will look at it and all that. So we should sit down and our people will lose their lives.
The police says investigations are ongoing. You don't think that's a good step to take?
So the video circulating and the pictures circulating on social media, you have seen some, I have seen some. Are the police saying that they can identify those people and arrest them immediately? Are the police saying that they can arrest them? The president must take full responsibility of the blood that has been shed today. He must take full responsibility. We have not heard any statement from his quarters. The police are also denying the matter and playing with it. And we think that that is most unfair. We, as a political party, we have a responsibility to protect our people. We have a responsibility to protect ourselves. And when the need be, we will defend and protect ourselves appropriately.
Very well. Peter, hold the line for me. I'm going to come back to you. There's a lot to discuss with you. But Richard Ahiagba has joined us. He's a member of the MPP communications team. Richard, the MPP has denied flatly any hand in what took... Well, I think we have lost Richard over the telephone, so I'll go back to Peter now. Now, Peter, let's talk about this withdrawal. Have you really withdrawn from the race? In that, irrespective of whatever the outcome is, you have withdrawn from the race. But we also hear, and in fact have reported on at least one agent still at the polling station, which goes to corroborate what AYAWASO has told us, that you haven't really withdrawn. You just made this to create some mayhem because you know you will lose. Have you really withdrawn from this race?
AYAWASO has no shame. So when he makes such claims, I would not really want to begrudge him. But indeed, if you look at what has happened, AYAWASO should be saying that we are talking about life, human life. We are talking about people being shot, both in the leg, in the head, and in the ribs. and you are telling me that, oh, we have not really withdrawn. You have seen one person at the polling station. We have withdrawn from this election, and the point must be made, and be made very clear that we are not part of this election. The voting started before we withdrew from the elections. The results may come. Whatever the results may be, we don't really care. But the key point is that.
So why do we still have a few agents? Why do we still have a few agents at some polling stations?
For the best, to the best of our knowledge, we do not have any agent in any polling station across the constituency.
Very well.
Now, what we have done is to call on the National Peace Council. So far, we are very disappointed that the Peace Council has not made any public statement on this matter. The international community must know about what is going on. The civil society must know about what is going on. The traditional and religious leaders must know what is going on. And indeed, we expect them to make a categorical statement on this matter. And we'll be looking out in the coming days. And we'll be taking any appropriate action to seek redress in the coming days.
Did the NDC orchestrate this violence? Only we could see the MPP in a bad light. Score some political points, maybe.
No, it would be most unfortunate for anybody to even try to think that the NDC will do this to score political points in an election that we were obviously going to win. This election was a win for the NDC. And yesterday I made the point that the only thing between the NDC and victory today was going to be wrecking and intimidation and beating up of people. And true to it, they have done it. One would have said that, why didn't you prepare? So why didn't your people also carry guns? We thought that we were going for elections, not war. If we knew that we were going to war, we would have also prepared ourselves for war. But we knew that we were going for elections. Indeed, what happened today was not elections. It was a war. People just being attacked. The MPP just planned and prepared to use state resources to attack its citizens. And that is what must be the point that must be made.
Very well. Peter,
use state resources to attack its citizens.
Peter, hold the line for me. I'm going to come back to you in a moment. Richard Ahiagwa is back over the line. Richard.
Hello.
Great to have you. Now, Richard, what are your own thoughts, observations about this exercise that is ongoing?
Oh, damn it. Yes, I think if you ask my view, we've had a very peaceful day today.
Yeah. Have you had a peaceful day? After Bawaleshie, can we still say it was a peaceful election?
Yes, I'm interested in where I work and where we have monitored all across board, 99.9%. I can tell you that we've had a peaceful day. That's a level of confidence that I can go to the bank with any day. So if you like, the process, I will tell you that has been very, very peaceful. We just finished counting at our polling station in Abelinkwe, ARS polling station here in Abelinkwe. The results came out, the MPP won very convincingly. So there hasn't been any issue here. People came where everything was orderly. And voted as Ghanaians would have to. And everybody, one person, one ballot, they made their choice and we counted. And the winner has been declared in our polling station. So if you ask me...
I'm sorry, Richard, what polling station is that?
This is Apostle Revelation Society polling station here in Abelinkwe.
Abelinkwe. And the NDC candidates there won convincingly, according to you?
The MPP candidate.
The MPP candidate won convincingly?
Yes, Madam Seyam Alassane won this polling station.
Very well. But, Richard, your position on the fact that, well, you care about where you were and across the board, about 99% you could say was peaceful. It would appear to belittle what has happened at Bawaleshie, which is a critical point in this by-election, wouldn't it?
No, I'm not by any means belittling that. In any case, if you ask me, the accounts that I have gotten, my understanding, I don't want to put that out there, but what I understood is that it was an incident that roped into the polling station. So if you like, there is never a perfect situation anywhere, but if you are asking for a poll that we conducted today, how it went generally, I'll tell you that 99.9% everything went orderly. I was sitting here at my polling station. I was talking to polling agents from other places. Media, your colleagues were coming to our polling station. We're asking them reports from where they are coming. They haven't told us any flashpoint anywhere besides the issue to do with Bawaleshie, which we know is peripheral as far as election is concerned. So let's not do anything to mar the process. It's been a very good process. Ghanaians are supposed to enjoy and feel proud.
Well, it already has happened, and unfortunately, it will be on the two of you, and I don't mean you personally, I mean your parties, the NDC and the NPP. Now, my next question to you is, during the planning process, was it part of your strategy to send out your invisible forces?
No, I don't think we have any plan like that. And like I was just telling you, the police station there wasn't any such thing. We had the police present. We have immigration that was here. They were the security that supervised the election for us. There wasn't any auxiliary security that was available. So, you see, there is an attempt from the beginning. You can see this from the NDC. Okay, they started to create this environment where they would actually make allegations, this happened, this has happened. This is not a complex process. We've voted in this country many, many times, and we have come a long way. The end of the day, we have one ballot per person. You come, you make your choice, you move on. It's a very straightforward process. We have been through this several times. But you see, when you have a group of people who are determined, knowing they are not committed to winning the election the right way, they will create all these skirmishes or this intentional problems to say that, oh, the process wasn't fair. I mean, who would say that one person takes a ballot and vote is not fair? You understand? We have come a very long way. I don't think that it is actually germane to have these allegations go around. It is for those who are not interested. It's for those who know their fate even before the election starts to say this. So I will tell you, with all the humility I can muster, the Ghanaians came here to our polling station and many other places that I've talked to. They exercised their franchise, and in the end, we have a winner, at least here in my polling station and the place that I've talked to.
I see.
The NPP is doing very well, and the process has been very
Yes,
fair.
Richard, you have told us about this polling station. We'll wait for the official results from the Electoral Commission. Peter, let me come back to you. You heard Richard on the matter of the violence. You heard Richard's observation as far as the entire process is concerned. What do you say?
Keminni, it's rather sad that the gentleman on the other line is not placing any premium at all on the black.
Peter, I can't hear you.
I am saying that, Keminni, it's rather sad that the gentleman on the other line is not placing any premium at all on the blood that has been shed today. I feel very sad that the candidate of the NPP was a woman. And so far, I have not heard her condemn the actions that have just taken place. Those who have been shot, they are fathers of some children. They are sons of some people. And if you have a woman contesting this election, and the NPP together with her, had planned this incident to happen, then we have little to talk about in this matter. What we are saying is that what has happened has just dented the democratic credentials of this country. We have just rolled back the good gains that we have made in our democratic process back to several centuries. And I think that is most sad. The president should bow his head in shame at this point and take full responsibility of what has happened today and what will subsequently happen after that.
Why not the electoral commissioner, the chairperson of the electoral commission? Why do you call on the president?
No, this is a matter of security. This is a matter of life and property.
Or the IGP, maybe.
Yes, the president swore an oath to protect life and property of the people in this country. The EC is supposed to conduct elections. We have had our own issues with the EC. But in this particular matter concerning the lives of our people, concerning the bloodshed that happened today, the president must take full responsibility. And he should take responsibility for subsequently what will happen.
Peter, I want to ask you one other thing based on the videos we have seen. Now, the videos from Delali's home, your candidate, we saw men who were livid because of the incident. Now, these men had masked their faces with some durag of sort. Why? Why were some of your men masking their faces?
None of our men was masked. In fact, we had no men in the house. We didn't even need to protect that house. Those who came in to attack were those who were masked. They were wearing this khaki side pockets and the black top with them to give to this. Must be in that regard. We shouldn't be covering things up and be creating the impression that the state doesn't know anything about it.
Very well, Peter. What will be the next line of action for the party? Lodge a complaint with the police, maybe?
Yes, we have numerous options available to us. We have done the complaint with the police, but we know indeed the police will not do anything for us. But in the subsequent days, we are going to announce a series of actions that we are going to take in this regard to in this matter.
Very well. Thank you very much. Let us know what your planned actions will be. Peter Boama Otukono is Deputy General Secretary for the NDC. Let's go live to Bawaleshie now. Wilberforce Asare is there for GH1 News. Wilberforce, has counting begun or ended, maybe?
Well, Keminni, so counting here at Bawaleshie 1A and 1B has ended, and the statistics are available. As I speak with you now, the counting process has ended, and from the polling station 1A, the New Patriotic Party's candidate had 131. The National Democratic Congress's candidate had 54. The PPP's candidate had 2. And the LPG's candidate had 0. The rejected ballot is 3. And the total number of people who voted is 190 out of 689 who were expected to vote. And that is the statistics for the Bawaleshie 1A. If I could quickly go on to Bawaleshie 1B, the New Patriotic Party's candidate had 99. The National Democratic Congress's candidate had 78. The PPP candidate had 0. And the LPG candidate also had 0. Rejected ballot over there is also 3. Keminni.
Very well. I was asking that we go over the figures again. Let's start with polling station 1A. Well, I think Wilberforce, we're losing Wilberforce. Wilberforce is in an engagement with somebody on the ground, but obviously his shoulders has some of the candidates have scored 0 at that point. I would want to believe that the race, as we have known it, it's between the NDC and NPP candidates. We also know that the NDC has stated emphatically, again, Peter Boama Otukono has re-emphasized the point that they have withdrawn from the race. No matter the outcome that happens, they would take action as far as this is concerned. First, they are calling on the president to bow his head in shame, and a whole lot of things that we would look into in subsequent broadcasts. Let's go to Legon now. Dela Michelle is there for us. He's at the University of Ghana polling station. Hello, Dela. Well, I'm told we have lost Dela over the telephone, but if you just joined our coverage, this is our continual coverage of the AYAWASO West Wuogon constituency by-election, characterized by violence at La Bawaleshie polling station. It's also been characterized by voter apathy. People haven't turned out in some polling stations. Less than half of the total number of registered voters showed up to vote, which means that the over 88,000 voters there did not show up to vote in this by-election. Mind you, this by-election has been prompted by the death of Emmanuel Tremantin Ejakon, the MP for the area, who died sometime this year. Well, sometime last year, latter part of 2018. Now, this violence erupted. It's difficult to tell what prompted the violence that erupted at the home of one of the candidates, the NDC candidates, that is Delali Brimpong. We've seen both parties throw accusations at each other as far as the cause and who is behind the violence is concerned. But clearly, injuries have been recorded. 6 people are receiving treatment at both the Wuogon Hospital and the 37 Military Hospital. We are told by the police no deaths have been recorded, that 6 who have been hospitalized are receiving treatment. Dela Michelle is joining us from the University of Ghana polling station with the latest. Dela, has counting ended?
Well, at some polling stations, yes, counting has ended right here on the Wuogon campus, and I've been able to get the provisional results so far. I'll say that for AYAWASO B, provisional result that we got, NDC has 14, that is, Delali was able to get 14 votes. NPP had 188. Lydia was able to get 188 votes. PPP William had 1, and LPG Clement had 0. The registered number was 942, but 203 voted. And this is provisional results for AYAWASO B. I can go ahead to give you AYAWASO 2B. For AYAWASO 2B, NDC had 12, NPP had 204, PPP 0, LPG 0. The registered number was 707, and 216 were able to cast their votes. There was no rejected ballot, and we didn't have any spoiled ballots at AYAWASO 2B. And for AYAWASO 2A, NDC had 11, NPP 50, LPG 0, PPP 0. Registered number was 797, but only 61 casted their vote here at AYAWASO. So for the AYAWASO polling station, Keminni, these are the provisional results that we have been given so far. I'll move straight to Mensa Saba. Mensa Saba, for all 4 centers, these are the provisional results that we have for all 4 centers. NPP had 183, that is, Lydia was able to get 183, NDC 69, PPP 5, LPG 0. The registered number was 2901, but only 262 voted. I'll just go over the number again. Mensa Saba, for all the 4 centers, NPP 183, NDC 69, PPP 5, LPG 0. For Wuogon 2A, we were expecting 685 people to cast their votes, but only 197 voted. And NPP had 77, and Delali for NDC had 20. So in all, LPG 0, PPP 0. So these are the provisional results for Wuogon 2A. For Wuogon 2B, Keminni, 589 were expected to vote, but only 6 showed up to vote today. And the NPP was able to get 27 votes, and then the NDC 9 votes. For PPP and LPG, they both had 0. And then for 3B, Wuogon 3B, 567 were expected to vote, but only 62 voted. So the results are NPP 23, NDC 9, PPP 0, and then LPG 0. And then, Keminni, if I can continue, let me move straight to the results for University Staff Primary. For University Staff Primary, NDC had 61 votes, NPP 93 votes, PPP 2, LPG 0. Total registered 560, total votes 145. And then for the University Staff Market, NDC 110, NPP 189, PPP 1, LPG 0. They had 1 rejected ballot here at the University Staff Market. So in all, 300 voted, and then the total registered was 933. And then for Hall 2B, NDC 11, PPP 2, NPP 27, LPG 0. So they're expecting 589 registered voters to cast their votes, but only 59 voted here at Hall 2B. So far, these are the provisional results that I have for Wuogon campus. I must say that we are still expecting the results from Commonwealth and then from that of Volta Hall as well. As we all know, the central cafeteria is going to be the coalition center. So right now, as we speak, Keminni, the security presence here has intensified. We have the fire service, we have the military here, we have the immigration officers here, we have the police officers here, and I must say that the building currently is under heavy security presence.
Della, we are going to come back to you immediately. The returning officer is ready to announce official results or when the Commonwealth and Voter Hall results stream in. Let's go back to Bawaleshie. What Professor Sari is engaging Samuel. Let's take a listen.
I had my health work here. We do not control men in khaki, but the NDC, I think Professor Milston, he established the special forces. They were dressed just the same as the people I saw today. During the NDC's delegate conference, I think at Trade Fair, where they elected their national officers, my understanding was that these same people in khaki and dress were the same people who were used to protect their process. So,
I know you had to go back. Just quick one. I mean, with the provisional result trickling in, is it going in your favor?
We are confident that we'll win the day. And from day one, we have been clear in our minds. We've controlled AYAWASO West Wuogon since 1996, and I don't think that is going to change. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Well, Samuel Wuku there, and he tells us that he is confident of the win. Indeed, the NPP has controlled the AYAWASO West Wuogon since 1996, after the NDC handed power, since 2000, when the NDC handed power. Remember, in 1992, the alliance won, and in 1996, the NDC had its sole share of AYAWASO West Wuogon. Then in 2000, they took over, and it's been the NPP since then in the AYAWASO West Wuogon constituency. Now, we were telling you yesterday, if you were here with us, how the current chief of staff was the MP for the area from 2000 to 2008, when she handed over to another candidate. We know that Emmanuel Chemantie-Jakon also took over then. Now, what we want to do is take you around again some of the polling stations and let you know what is happening there. But from the figures that we have received so far, it would appear that the MPP's first timer, Seyram Al-Hassan, is in the lead. We cannot conclude that she's won the election yet, but we know from the provisional results that she's in the lead. Let's take the Wuogon example. For example, she's in the lead in Ikwafu B, 2B. In Ikwafu 2A, she's also in the lead with 50. In Ikwafu 2B, she's also in the lead with 244 votes. In the 4 centers of Mensa Saba, she is in the lead with 183 votes. In Wuogon 2A, she's in the lead again with, I beg your pardon, she's in the lead in Wuogon 2A. In Wuogon 2B, she's in the lead with 27 votes. In Wuogon 3B, she's in the lead with 23 votes. If you go to the University Staff Primary School, she's in the lead with 93 votes. And at the University Staff Market, she's also in the lead with 110 votes. At Hall 2B, also on the University of Ghana campus, she's in the lead there as well. We are waiting for Commonwealth and Voter Hall, and as Della promised us, we'll go back to her when she begins to give us results from that area. But we have been speaking to the average of the AYAWASO West Wuogon constituency by-election. Clearly, voter apathy was experienced in nearly all the voting centers. I mean, take Ikwafu 2A, for instance, 799 registered voters, only 61 showed up. If you take Wuogon 2B, 508